YouTube, welcome back or welcome to my channel if this is your first time. This is my channel, Pixie Dust and Spirit Alchemy, where we talk about all sorts of things taboo, occult, magical, mysterious, mystical, stuff like that. So thank you guys for being here. Today's video is going to be back on a Gallery of Magic book topic. I wanted to do a review of a different book that I haven't done in a while. Lately I've been focused on wealth magic videos, you know, sharing my experience with that, the timeline of my experience, all that. I still have a couple more that I'm going to do related to wealth magic. Oh, and the podcast too, there's been a lot of like hard work and time put into that also, and not just on my part, but on my comrades, acquaintances / friends part as well. So I wanted to just do a little shorter video today and discuss my experience and also sort of give a review of the Mystical Words of Power book, which is this book that I have right here. This is a Gallery of Magic book for those who do not know. Boom, Gallery of Magic by Damon Brand. So let's get started. If y'all are familiar with the Gallery of Magic at all, then you know that they have more than like one book, right? There's more than wealth magic. I've covered a few others on my channel. You'll find a few videos on the Magical Cash book, which was my first experience with any Gallery of Magic book, right? It was the Cash book. And then from there I went into wealth magic and then got introduced to the 72 Angels of Magic. There's a lot of books out there. I don't have every single one of them. I'm familiar with most of them, I believe, and I have used and worked with most of them. Words of Power and Greater Words of Power. Those are two Gallery of Magic books already out there. I actually have not worked with either of those, but I do know and have heard that the magic and the rituals in those books are similar to Mystical Words of Power, which I have right here. So, if you see on the cover, it says, "The magic of the heart, the soul, and the empowered mind." I have done a great deal of work out of this book for multiple uses and multiple reasons. And people might be confused by this book because of its simplicity. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. So what you can expect from Mystical Words of Power are subtle rituals, or simple rituals with subtle effects, subtle results, I'd say. At least that's what I've come to find in my experience. Essentially, it's a little bit different than Gallery of Magic books like Wealth Magic or Archangels of Magic or Magical Cash book even, because those books have a more focused goal, right? When you're doing wealth magic, it's because you are trying to achieve and build this life of wealth. Same with Magical Cash book. There's an intended purpose and a specific desired result. And same with several of the other ones. Like Magical Seduction is not going to be anywhere near the rituals in Mystical Words of Power. You know what I mean? So that also just kind of displays this sort of broad range of rituals that can exist in within this magical category, within just the Gallery of Magic books, right? Some are more in-depth grimoires than others, and I do like that because it gives people, like, it's more accessible to everybody, right? Like, there's not a single person out there that is incapable of doing magic. Whether it's from reading the text in a book or from, you know, like charging your crystals under the moonlight or something. I mean, that's magic too, right? And there's layers to magic. It's not all just like hocus pocus. I don't even know what people consider magic if you're not into the occult anymore, because I'm just so not there that I don't know what they think. But within the Gallery of Magic books, it gives a broad range of different rituals to work with. Which is good, because for people like me, when I was first getting into, the Gallery of Magic books, I didn't consider myself an experienced occultist. I considered myself a regular person that was just trying something new. You know, I didn't think that I had any head start or any greater chance of being successful in magic than anybody else. I had no idea, but I was willing to try. And with the simplicity of these rituals, you know, anybody can do it. They don't make a ritual in this book where, you know, you have to do it for a certain amount of days. Honestly, probably every single ritual in this entire book could be done in a minute or less. I swear. I'm like 100% certain. You know, I mean, and not to say that you should do it in a minute or less. You know, you want to be focused and present and have your attention there still. But just to point out the simplicity of it. What am I supposed to gain from magic that empowers my heart, soul, and mind? Sounds like it could be a lot. I mean, what do you think of, you know, whenever you hear those words? You may think of nothing, you may think of something, but regardless, it's important to keep an open mind when working with this magic. You know, to not have expectations and to be open to anything. So, this book is divided up into two parts, part 1 and part 2. I have done every ritual in part 1, some more times than others. I have not done every single ritual in part 2, but not yet, you know, there's still time. And part 2 is more so the half of the book where you are directing your intent a little bit more. Not as specifically as some other books, like I said, but I'd say for part 1, it's more so focused on building a foundation. Finding that empowerment for your heart, soul, and mind. And then going forward to do other magic after that. The rituals, you know, and most gallery of magic books are like this. Well, they'll say that, you know, for this ritual you don't need any, like, props or whatever. You just need, like, yourself and the book. Sometimes I'll add my own little flares in there, but never for this book. Literally one time I was sitting in my friend's house on his bed just, like, waiting. And we were about to drive to New Orleans, and I was just waiting for him, and I was like, you know, let me just open up this book and do a ritual, and I did. It took like 30 seconds. So you'll find in the first part of this book, I'm not going to read everything like word for word, because I do really support people and want to try to motivate people to buy the books on their own. And I mean buy the books and not pirate the books, because pirating the books is rumored to curse your magic. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. I haven't done that, and, you know, don't really want to curse myself or anybody else. So, but in part 1 of this book, you will find 7 different rituals. One for perception, knowledge, imagination, love, healing, transformation, and the empowered mind. So what I found when I was doing these rituals was I would do each one of the first ones different days, maybe 3 days in a row. You know, you do have the option to extend beyond just one day, but you don't have to. And those simple rituals provide subtle results, like I said. Like, what I would feel after doing each one of them is sort of a more centered feeling. You know, it brings you back. It does a very good job, all 7 of them, to bring you back to the present moment. And there is some emotional transmutation that goes on in these rituals, you know, shifting from one emotion to another, whether they're negative or positive, or envisioning memories from your past and something in the future, stuff like that. But not much thought beyond that, you know. But it is important to read what each ritual is about, what each ritual is about, so that you know what you could gain from it, you know. But be open-minded, like I said. But I found that when doing, you know, like for the ritual of knowledge, when I would do that one, it maybe made my decision making the next day a little bit easier, you know, or I was more firm on a decision I wanted to make, on clearly seeing which one would be the right course of action. Let's see, the ritual for perception, you know, like something subtle enough as being able to see outside your own perception, see the sides of others, you know, allow you to see or think or feel something that maybe you wouldn't have before. The ritual for the empowered mind, you know, that could mean a broad spectrum of things. You could be empowering your mind to do more magic, empowering your mind to start a project, or just simply empowering your mind in general. and see what comes of that. Careful not to underestimate magic because it seems too simple or too easy. Magic doesn't have to be this complex, like, in-depth, lengthy, like, ceremonial show in order to work. It really doesn't. I mean, that's sort of like the thought that's been instilled in a lot of people based on, you know, the general portrayal of just magic by Hollywood or people that really aren't into magic gathering and sharing their opinions on it, I guess, or their thoughts on it. I don't know. I don't know where they come from. But it doesn't have to be like that. It can be super duper simple. These are. And so in part 2 is where you find a slightly more focused intention with the rituals. So for example, like the first part I said kind of lays out a foundation for you to do other magic on. And I myself did each ritual in part 1 back to back, you know, over a course of 7 days if there were 7 of them. Or if I did any for more than once, then, you know, I'd do that the next day and then go forward. And you can always come back and just do one. You know, the ritual of transformation. Well, that could assist us in transforming to our higher selves or transforming emotions. You know, if we've been stuck in an emotional rut, maybe this is a transformation to transform out of that. Whatever the case may be. So I'd say part 1 and part 2 differ because part 1 is more so focused on results that you can achieve within yourself, within your heart, mind, and soul, right? And part 2 is more so achieved externally, but also internally, you know. So, but there are more so external focuses when we're doing the ritual that we are bringing our attention to. I won't go through a list. I won't go through all the rituals because in part 2 there are actually quite a lot. If you just, like, it starts there, part 2, and it goes down. So here's the 7 in part 1, right here. This is where part 2 starts, and then boom, and then boom, 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 and then boom. So it's like a lot. I'm not going to count, but it's a lot. And I'll just name off a couple just to give you guys examples if you really have no idea what this book is. You know, there's one about making the unwanted stay away. There's one that's attract help when in need. Understand financial decisions. Improve imagination when creating. Stuff like that. Discover your authentic potential. I have some marks next to the ones that I've done. I have done the Discover Your Authentic Potential. I've done the ritual to improve imagination when creating. Find ideas for new projects and increase the momentum of your efforts. So those are some of the ones that I've done. I have done others as well. These are also subtle rituals. You know, they're not, I don't think they're really any different than the rituals in part 1 other than the results that they're supposed to bring. And still, subtle rituals, subtle results for simple rituals, you know, like discovering your authentic potential. Well, that may mean doing this ritual and maybe perhaps discovering a new talent or uncovering a new layer of yourself that you didn't know existed that can benefit your future. Find ideas for new projects. I remember I did that one and was inspired at the time to I had just daily ideas for this project I was working on at the time that's kind of irrelevant now, but it did assist in that. And it wasn't like some grand, like, burning bush moment, you know, where I was just like, inspiration, divine inspiration. No, it was just like a simple idea that I thought of, you know, and then took the time to exert that idea and make it a reality. And, you know, later realized that that was the result of doing this ritual. So they're almost like little boosts, you know, like little just that extra push that you need, at least in my experience. But that being said, for somebody else, it could have much more profound results and still be the same simple ritual that it was for another person, you know. The magic doesn't change. As long as we still put our focused intention, you know, and attention on it, and like I said, have an open mind when doing the magic, then anything can happen. Anything can happen. And how bad do we want it? Energy that we put into the ritual is relative to the results that we will get out of the ritual. you know, just a couple others like break the cycle of worry. Like, there's little things. So it's not like help me find a new car. You know, that's more so something that you would call on a certain angel or possibly demon for. You know, if you really wanted to manifest something soon or whatever. And there's no timeline with these. You know, that doesn't say that the results will manifest in a certain time and this is how they'll manifest. It's just like, nope. Like, I mean, it'll come when it comes, however it comes. So be careful not to judge ourselves and the results when doing magic. If you feel that the results came and you didn't think it was good enough, then do it again. Still, this is probably one of my favorite books because of the simplicity and the power that it still yields. As magicians, our greatest tools are our minds, our hearts, and our bodies. You know, we are the vessel, we are the tool through which this magic is happening. We are the ones exerting our will to have reality change or fluctuate or transform to align with that. You know? So it's important to have the right mindset. It's important to have the right heart for whatever sort of magic that you're doing. You know, as long as it's aligned with your true heart's desire, with your true intentions, then it'll work, whatever it is. To conclude, sort of, part one of this book helps support that mystical connection to reality. You know, able to see through new lenses the magic that surrounds us. And then we can move forward into part two in this new mystical reality, or sort of more enhanced mystical reality, to start affecting the outside as we see fit. So this book should not be overlooked. You know, I'm not, like I said, entirely sure how similar or different it is to Words of Power or Greater Words of Power, because I have not worked with those, but I know that those are very popular books and that they are probably similar. You know, and there are sigils in here and angelic names and words that you're calling on, you know, to help with the magic, but that's just about how all this magic works. Nothing scary, nothing too time-consuming, accessible to all. Results and desired outcomes are achievable by all. Oh, and Damon Brand does say on the back here that in part two there are he just says there are over 50 sigils to fine-tune your reality. So there you go. So part one is laying down that foundation, and part two is for the fine-tuning of your reality. So how do you want to empower your reality? How do you want to empower your mind, heart, and soul? To each their own. Could come about differently. I'll just close with this paragraph that Damon writes on the back. This is not my own words. It says, "When you connect with this angelic power, you discover who you are, what you want, and the mystical states required to attract everything you need to live the life of your dreams." Sounds pretty mystical to me. So anyways, guys, that's all I'll say about this book today. If anybody has more questions on perhaps a specific ritual I tried or anything, or if you want to share your own experience in the comments, I would love to hear how it worked for you. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I can do more videos on my experience with other Gallery of Magic books. I know I haven't put another one out there in a long time, like I said, other than Wealth Magic, but I think I had somebody ask about this a while back, and it was something that I've been wanting to do too, because it's subtle magic, but it's still just as powerful. I hope everybody stays safe out there, stay kind, stay loving, stay curious, and I will keep you guys posted on the live videos. My energy just hasn't really been feeling like, I don't know, like the best for 2 live videos lately, so I'm trying not to force anything. I'm just going with the flow of whatever I feel like getting out there. So with that being said, stay tuned. I won't let you guys down. I'll at least do 1 live video. I don't know about the 2, but I'll make up for it another month at some point, if anything. So, alright guys, until next time, peace.